The 2K Sports Pregame Show.
Greetings, NBA fans. Welcome to 2K Sports. I'm your host, Ernie Johnson, and seated beside me, Kenny the Jet Smith and the Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal. And coming right up, we'll see the Denver Nuggets playing against the Mavericks in Dallas. Well, for the Mavericks, they're sitting at 500 over the last 10 games, kind of treading water. They'd really like to make a splash over the next few games. Well, the big problem for Dallas last season was their play on the defensive end. They just didn't do enough to slow teams down. What can they do to improve that, Shaq?
Well, first, they got to have a rim protector on the floor at all times. Can't be passive about letting perimeter players get into the teeth of their defense and score. You need a rim protector.
I don't know. They did a poor job of rebounding last year, Shaq, and second worst in the league in the percentage of defensive rebounds grabbed. So I don't know if they can change that. It's going to be difficult.
That'll do it for us. For now, cannot thank you enough for tuning in.
The Mavericks look to take charge at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, and we're going to bring it to you live. Welcome to what should be a great Saturday night for the NBA. This is Kevin Harlan with Clark Kellogg and Greg Anthony, and on the sideline tonight, Doris Burke. And, of course, David Lee. Without his presence, they'll have to overcome the hole there.
And as shocked as people are that they would trade away a player of his caliber, Kevin, they didn't just let him go for nothing. They got a lot in return. I think it's a deal that's going to really help them down the road.
And that's the idea. You know, you want to build a foundation on which this team can continue to move upward. So certainly some fans unhappy to see him go, but fans will be patient, and they also continue to be fans.
Now a chance, courtesy of Gatorade, all fueled up and ready to go. The starting five on the floor. So on the floor for Denver. Gallinari sits outside at 3 with Fareed at the 4. Will Barton is out there with Moutier. That's good.
And those are the first points of the game.
Nice hoop to get the scoring started there.
You know, in Dirk Nowitzki, you start to wonder if he's the best foreign-born player ever. Of course, you have a lot of competition for that distinction. I mean, you got Hakeem, Nash, Parker, just to name a few.
And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot. Back to the topic, and Nowitzki is the greatest foreign-born player ever. I think Hakeem Olajuwon, Clark, is really his only challenger.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and I'd keep Hakeem at the top of that list just because of his presence and impact at both ends of the floor. But Dirk, clearly one of the all-time greats in NBA history.
And he sinks the second.
You know, Kenneth Fareed was named to the NBA All-Rookie First Team 4 years ago. Took the league by storm with his energy and hustle. Looked like the sky was the limit for him, but every year since then, his numbers have looked very similar.
Now, here's Nowitzki. 26 points for him last game against San Antonio. A beautiful reverse layup.
Now, there's something for the top 10 highlight reel right there. A layup can be just as sweet and as pretty as a dunk sometimes.
Getting back to Fareed, the numbers through last season tell a very interesting story. His field goal percentage has gone down every year, while his free throw percentage has gone up every year.
Yeah, his rebounds, assists, steals, block numbers have all stayed relatively flat. You know, he's making a positive contribution, but maybe not at the level of that contract extension he signed back in 14.
Now here's Barnes. 11 points for him in that last game against the Spurs in San Antonio.
Yeah, but I like how he defended as well. You know, he got a couple blocks in that game and just an all-around great effort.
And so here's Denver. Harrison Barnes missing his last shot. Clock at 6. Gallinari wide open. They get the rebound. Fareed, no good.
And they're 1 of 5 to start this game. Just really haven't gotten into a flow offensively.
Williams passes to Bogut. And that one goes in as he is fouled. It'll be 3 points if he converts at the line.
What a tremendous feed from Williams. Great awareness.
And guys, nice to see Bogut out there given all the injuries that he's had to overcome in his career. Just glad to see him at full strength.
Free throw good, Bogut. You know, Bogut, as I recall, Clark was so distraught by those injuries that at one point he thought he might retire.
Yeah, he gave some serious thought to packing it in after the 2013 season, Kevin. Luckily for his team, though, he worked through it and is as strong as ever at the defensive end.
Now, here's Matthews. 14 points from him the last game against the Spurs in San Antonio.
And not just the scoring. It was also how fierce he was on defense, grabbing 3 steals on the night as well.
And here's Rudy. Harrison Barnes getting it to go from deep. Now going up. He had a 12-point outing in their last game against San Antonio. Just 3 to shoot. Shot from 12. No good. And it's Dallas the other way. They couldn't put the pieces together, losing that last matchup with San Antonio.
You know what? A lot of three-pointers, but for me, more so, it was the shot selection on those three-pointers. I just felt like they were just too trigger-happy from downtown.
You know, Greg, sometimes you're able to shoot your way out of a slump, but they just kept making things worse. Sometimes the harder you try, the worse it gets.
Moutier, no good. Dallas leading by 6. Now here's Williams. He hasn't scored yet. That, I'm sure, will change. To the middle from 12 feet out. And misses it off the right side of the rim. Denver's gone 1 of 3 from beyond the arc so far in the game. Out left to the wing. They set the pick. Screen by Fareed. Here's Barton. The Nuggets with another miss.
The defense did a really good job of choking off the middle there once he got inside.
Again, the miss by the Mavericks.
And being that close to the hoop, I thought he had enough room to finish that one.
And that one's good. Barton's got 5 points so far. And so here is Dallas, and going against Denver, their first meeting of the season.
Yeah, and they took care of business against this group last year, winning the season series.
Yeah, Greg, you're right. They're the better team. I mean, they expect to win this matchup. We'll see if they can take care of business tonight.
Got a piece of it. Nowitzki with the steal, and it's the Mavericks on the break. Matthews leading the charge, and the dunk by Barnes.
And that's the kind of play you just do not want to give up defensively. You lose the possession and give up a quick 2 at the other end. That's losing basketball.
Especially when you can't afford to give up any buckets. That's a nice lead now.
So here's Gallinari. Harrison Barnes picking up that last basket. And Gallinari kicks to Moutier. Fareed, a screen on Williams. Here's Moutier, and it's sent back by Bogut. Here's Williams. No scoring yet from him, but that's likely to change. Feeds to Barnes. This one for 3. And it's Jokic with the rebound.
Boy, that's a surprising miss right there. He usually feasts on those wide open opportunities.
And it's Gallinari missing.
And he just hasn't been able to make anything this quarter.
Williams attacking. It's Matthews on the wing. Off target there. That would have pushed the lead to double digits. The Nuggets trail by 8. Moutier dishes to Barton. Screen by Fareed. There's the pass to Moutier. Got a hand on it. And going out of bounds. Last touch by Barnes. Wilson Chandler's checked in for the Nuggets. Nelson comes in for Moutier.
And how about Harrison Barnes, the Black Falcon? I mean, he was a high school phenom in Ames, Iowa, and a lottery pick back in 2012 after 2 seasons at Carolina. I remember also in high school he was a teammate of Dougie McBucket.
Timeout is called, first of the game for the Nuggets. Harrison Barnes, of course, went to North Carolina, grew up as a huge fan of former Tar Heel Michael Jordan.
Yeah, you know, interesting, his mother started taping Jordan's games on the VCR years before he was born. His given name, Harrison Bryson Jordan Barnes. How about that for a factoid?
I didn't know that.
Nor did I.
And the Mavericks will go for a different look here. Powell, he's checked in for Nowitzki. Anderson comes in for Barnes. Curry's checked in for Wesley Matthews. And Barea subbed in for Darren Williams. Here's Laverne. He averages a bit over 6 points a game. Just 5 to shoot. Chandler's shot, good.
Well-executed possession. They controlled the shot. Nicely done.
Mavericks leading by 6. And let's get this update now from Doris Burke, who's across the way on the sideline.
Earlier I spoke with Mike Malone. This is their first matchup of the season against this squad, and he knows the shot blocking in the middle will certainly be an obstacle. But he said, quote, we've got to remain aggressive and continue to attack. Guys, he said that putting their bigs in high pick and rolls and shooting the open jumper with confidence will be key. We'll see how they do.
Thank you, Doris, and quite a focus for the game here early on, and an important one too, guys.
Yeah, I mean, up against this team, finding ways to crack their defensive shell is always going to be the #1 challenge.
And I would say it would be the #2 and #3 challenges as well, guys.
Denver with the ball. Following the score by Dallas. Nelson kicks to Laverne. On the wing, Chandler. Defended by Anderson. 4 on the shot clock. Here's Laverne.
Yeah, really like the defensive focus and intensity at the start.
Exactly. Nothing easy. They're making them work just to get into their offense. Very disruptive so far.
Back to Curry for the 3. Laverne grabs the miss. The Nuggets trail by 8. They really want to find that igniter here.
Yeah, that's right. Kevin, the offense has basically been running in place.
They got to get going.
And no matter who it is, that kind of D isn't going to get it done.
Now here's Barea, guarded by Nelson. Kicks to Powell. It's good. Great play set up by Barea. Powell's got his first 2 points of the night.
Boy, that's a really nice feed by J.J. Barea.
And here's Nelson. There's the pick. Down low. Here's Arthur. And that one goes in as he is fouled. It'll be 3 points if he converts at the line.
How about battling through the impact there and then willing that basketball in?
Boy, it does your heart good to see that kind of determination in a player. Really excellent focus that time.
And guys, let's get your take on the hustle stats for Dallas.
You know, they've done a great job of getting a hand up on shooters. Actually have gotten a lot of blocks as well, solidifying that defensive effort.
And also defensively, they've been able to cause some turnovers tonight, and that also builds confidence and gives you momentum.
Now here's Curry. He had a 12-point outing in their last game against San Antonio.
And also 3 steals, so he showed some grit and determination on the defensive side.
Here's Chandler. 4-point game. Pass to Powell. Anderson outside. No luck. And the Nuggets going the other way. The Nuggets missed the postseason again last year. Never really had a good look at it and just fell back of the pack.
And it's the second straight year of not playing playoff basketball in Denver. This coming on the heels of 10 straight bursts between 04 and 13.
And Dallas calls their first time out of the game.
And, you know, for Denver, historically, they've enjoyed a lot of success for a long time. I mean, missing the playoffs consecutively might have been the wake-up call they needed to try something different going forward.
Here's Barea. He hasn't scored yet. That, I'm sure, will change.
And listen, it's sometimes really hard for teams like the Nuggets to know when to rebuild. So while they weren't quite sure what they had coming into last season, by the end of it, they had a clear idea of what direction they needed to head into for the future.
Harris against Curry. Shot, high post. Here's Powell. The stupendous finish in traffic. And the Mavericks lead by 4.
He was the first one to react to that miss. Excellent anticipation on his part. A hustle play on the putback by him.
Denver calls timeout. Big change last year for the Mavs came when they traded for Rajon Rondo. It looked to be the missing piece for him, Clark, but boy, it just never seemed to come together.
You just don't know. Trades are always risky. You don't know how they're going to work out, and I give credit to ownership for talking to the players to see what they thought about the trade before they actually made the deal.
Arthur with it to the paint. Shot's good by Laverne. Laverne's got his second bucket of the night.
And things just didn't really work out with Rondo here with the Mavs. Missed a lot of games and at times clashed with that coaching staff.
Now here's Barea looking for his first basket still in this one. Here's Nelson, and here we go. Back to Chandler. Oh, that's blocked, and he gets it back. It's Anderson with the drive. Knocks it loose.
And, you know, they said it was the injury, but you have to suspect the Mavs just shut him down in the playoffs. They took a big swing and missed with Rondo in acquiring him, but I think you have to give him credit for at least taking the risk.
Howard down with both hands.
And it doesn't really matter who starts the break with how he runs the floor. He seems to always be the one who finishes.
Yeah, he is so fun to watch and how he attacks the rim at full speed like that, man. It's something to behold the way that guy gets to the rim.
And it's Laverne missing. Dallas leading by 4. Baseline jumper. Laverne grabs the miss.
I guess even he has to miss one of those once in a while.
Harris missing again. Dallas has gone just 1 of 4 from three-point range here in the first. 1:15 left in the first quarter. Mavericks with the rebound.
And this quarter, he has clearly been off the mark.
Curry passes to Barea. Out of bounds. Denver takes possession. 56 seconds left to play in the first quarter. Guys, they're looking for a way to score here.
Yeah, they've had a tough time getting the lid off the basket so far.
Chandler against Anderson. That's tipped. Pass break, Dallas. Some nice passing here by Dallas. No one near Curry as he lets it go. Connects from three-point range.
And I like how he draws the attention on the inside and then the nice little kick out in rhythm for the jumper.
5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Nelson kicks to Arthur. The layup off target.
Yeah, but you have to love that tough interior defense.
And, Greg, that's exactly what he gives you. I mean, he's constantly making his presence felt around the rim. Nice, silky finish on the alley-oop.
That sequence, I don't think Clark could have been executed any better.
Stupendous feed.
And that's the beauty of the game right there. I hope we get the opportunity to see a few more of those.
They get it back. So halt the run. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. And this is his second trip to the line tonight.
And that 82% free throw percentage this season must have him feeling pretty good about himself at the line.
And guys, I think that's a tribute to his work ethic. I mean, it's not by accident that he's enjoying the success he is at the free throw line.
And so he makes both from the line. Williams. The shot, no good. And we reached the end of the first quarter. Mavericks ahead. They're up by 7. And we'll get going after this from the American Airlines Center. And Dirk Nowitzki steadily climbing the all-time scoring rankings. He talked about the remarkable journey of his long and illustrious career. Dirk has proven himself through the test of time. As tough as it may have been back in his rookie year, he overcame those obstacles to become this elite NBA player, Clark, destined for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, you know, people now talk about players being a Dirk Nowitzki type. And that's a type any team would like to have. One of the greatest power forwards in NBA history, for sure.
And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. And what do you think, guys, about Dallas here in this one?
It's all about their defense. They have just done a terrific job of negating the timing and spacing of their opponent.
Every shot is challenged and challenged well.
So out there for the Nuggets right now, Gallinari sits outside at 3 with Fareed at the 4. Moutier out there with Will Barton. The first free throw is good.
Really was a slow start for Gallinari last season. Took him a while to get back to speed after missing all of the 2013-14 season with that torn ACL.
Gallinari hits them both. Gallinari did get better and better over time. I mean, he improved. He started to get back to his former self near the end of the season.
Yeah, had that huge 47-point explosion towards the end of last season. And listen, he's still a young guy and hopefully can continue to build after his injury woes.
Now here's Williams. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot 2.
And you know, one thing about Darren Williams, he used to get to the charity stripe at will. At the height of his career, he's averaging almost 6 free throws a game. The last couple seasons, he's been down around 3.
And Clark, for Darren Williams, he clearly has the handle and the strength to get to the basket, but no longer the explosion that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, you know, he's had some ankle injuries, and that certainly is a part of that. And he's also in his 30s now, so largely a perimeter jump shooter, but still can impact the game with his deep shooting and playmaking.
And both free throws good for Williams.
You know, the Nuggets could create their offense, but they still would have trouble knocking down the shots. Just didn't have a lot of dead-eye laser shooters. Every field goal attempt with them was an adventure.
Now here's Moutier. He's coming off a 19-point game against San Antonio.
And also his assist total tells you about the job he did of keeping his head up and keeping his teammates involved.
Mavericks leading by 5. Nuggets did have their problems on the offensive end, too, something that's rare for them, hitting the open shot and the mid-range shot and beyond being one of them.
You know, Kevin, how about being last in the league in catch-and-shoot field goal percentage? I mean, got a good amount of looks that way, but really struggled shooting only 34% in those situations.
Boy, such standing patience and decision-making for them offensively.
Absolutely. Their ball movement has been outstanding, and they're piling up the assists.
Now here's Fareed. 8 points his last outing. Back to Gallinari. And it's off from three-point range.
I'd love to see them impose themselves a little more on the backboard. That's a great way to find confidence. Always a surefire way to get back in the game.
Well, guys, they need to do something to reduce this deficit. We'll see if that's the answer.
Here's Barton. Good D by Matthews.
Excellent, really solid job actually by the defense to get in his way as he was going up for that one.
Puts it up from 17 and no good. Trying to use the glass.
You're not going to see that very often. Plenty of space, but he just, let's face it, he whiffs on that.
Moutier dishes to Gallinari. Fareed setting the pick for Gallinari. Shot clock at 6. Here's Jokic. His first attempt of the game finds the target.
Give credit where credit is due right there. A terrific assist.
Mavericks leading by 5. Nowitzki a screen. Williams kicks to Barnes. Outside Matthews. Nice fake, but the layup off the mark.
All the defender had to do there was just stay close to him, and he did.
Moutier with the basket.
You know, huge height advantage there, but because of the great body control, he's able to cancel it out.
Agreed. The body control essential in that situation. I mean, if you're giving up a bunch of height, then you better be able to manufacture things in the air. If he can improve on what's been a shaky day for him thus far, they could stretch this lead out.
And that one's good. Now just a 1-point Dallas lead.
Boy, guys, they've shown some great passing on their last few trips down the floor. Excellent.
4 straight passes leading to scores. Great team play.
Here is Matthews. Following the basket by Kenneth Fareed. And the shot is good from Nowitzki.
How about Bogut doing a good job setting that screen?
The Nuggets trail by 3. Passes it to Jokic. There's the dish to Gallinari. To the middle. It's hauled in by Nowitzki. Nowitzki's got his 3rd rebound tonight. Matthews passes to Nowitzki. Buries the long-range jumper. And it's a 6-point Dallas lead.
And fellas, in this quarter, he's improved on what was already a very good performance in period number 1.
Moutier dishes to Barton. The feed now to Moutier. Screen by Fareed. Down low, Jokic. And 2 free throws coming up as he misses that one. Drawing the whistle and a lot of contact there. Dirk Nowitzki picks up that one. The Nuggets have made 6 of their 7 attempts at the line in this one.
And 74% has been the mark for them on the season thus far.
Really, guys, it's just come together for them at the charity stripe this season. I mean, the confidence is there, and so too are the results.
And it's a completely new group on the floor for the Mavericks. Big group substitution here for Denver. Laverne, he's checked in for Reed. Chandler comes in for Gallinari. Harris is checked in for Will Barton. And Jameer Nelson is subbed in for Moutier. No good on the second free throw.
And last year, we saw Coach Rick Carlisle pass the 600-win mark. Former Coach of the Year award winner has had so much success here in Dallas. One of many coaches to play for the 80s Celtics.
They're getting on a roll inside. Their last 3 field goals have come from inside the paint area.
There's got to be a wall of defense when it comes to attacking the paint. Plain and simple.
Now, here's Barea. He's had some playing time, but no scoring yet from him. Here's Powell. And so he earns a trip to the line. Officials saw the contact, and he'll shoot 2. And with Coach Carlisle, he's had great success, Greg, as you're talking about, down in Dallas. Now in his 8th season, he's never finished under 500 with the Mavericks. Only finished under 500 once in his whole career. And Clark, he only missed the playoffs twice as a head coach.
Well, we had him in Indiana, and he's fantastic as a basketball coach. And the Mavericks have made it known that he can hang around and coach as long as he'd like to. That's pretty high praise for Rick Carlisle.
He hits the second from the line.
As we've gotten closer to halftime, their style has become more and more physical.
Well, it certainly appears to be the case, Greg. I mean, they've spent a lot of time at the foul line this quarter, and that's the result of attacking the rim and being physical.
They should continue to get the ball inside. The defense struggling to contain them.
And when you make 5 in a row in close like that, it also takes pressure off your perimeter guys, too.
Now, here's Barea. A look at his stats. He averages a bit over 8 points a game. Powell kicks to Barea. They set the pick. He feeds it to Powell. 5 to shoot. Ball stolen. Nelson outside. And he hits it to tie the game up. Nelson's got his first points of the game.
Not fazed at all by having a bigger defender on him down low, and I really thought he would be.
You know, at first glance, you wouldn't think that he'd be comfortable in that particular situation, but boy, I tell you what, he didn't look like he was out of his element at all right there.
Powell down low. Laverne on him, and he gets it to go. Curry's got 8 points.
The D just sagged off just enough, and no hesitation on his part.
It's tipped. It's 2-on-1. Finished off the break. And now a 5-point Maverick lead.
Guys, his consistency in terms of shooting has really helped them seize control.
Here's Nelson. That's basket number 2 with his third shot off to a fast 2 for 3.
They are just killing them on the interior.
Yeah, you can't say that with enough emphasis. I mean, the defenders are just not being aggressive enough down low. You got to play with some physicality in the paint.
Dallas calls timeout. As the teams head into this timeout, a chance for the coaches now to map out some plays for the next few minutes and a chance for the players to rehydrate with some Gatorade. That's important if they want to make sure they don't wear down later in the game.
Absolutely. Over the course of a game, you have to stay hydrated.
Terrell Arthur, he's checked in for the Nuggets. Mavericks leading by 3. Mavs made the playoffs again last season. 14th playoff berth for them in the last 15 years, and only the San Antonio Spurs have made more, Greg, over that time frame.
Yeah, and they had a tough first-round opponent in the number 2 seed, Houston. A good old Texas tussle between the 2 and the 7 seeds.
Now, here is Nelson. Shot clock at 6. Nice shot by Arthur. Now just a 1-point Maverick lead.
And they're beginning to just flat out fall apart defensively right now, especially on the interior.
Yeah, and that's 4 straight field goals now, Greg, they've allowed from point-blank range. Can't happen. Yeah, and you know, the Mavs got bounced out by the Rockets in 5 games in round 1. They were able to avoid the sweep, but losing the first 3 was way too much to overcome.
And for Dallas in the playoffs, really it didn't help to have the Rondo drama going on at the time. Even if that hadn't happened, though, you got the feeling that they were overmatched against a red-hot Houston team.
Well, free throw drops for Powell.
And, you know, Denver was not that good against the West last season, but they weren't as bad as you would have thought. Managed to get 19 wins against the rest of the conference, and we know how tough the West is, so that's not shabby.
Both good from the line that time. Well, last year for the Nuggets, they were really searching, and they finished 12th in the Western Conference. Greg, they were 30 and 52.
You know, not a great place to be. Let's face it. I mean, Kevin, Denver never really had a shot at the postseason, but weren't good enough to land a high draft pick out.
Mavericks leading by 3. Curry attacking. Releases. And it's good off the back rim and in. Curry's got 7 now in this quarter. The Nuggets shooting around 40% from the floor here. Nelson outside. He dishes it to Laverne. On the wing, Chandler. And he's good on the 3 ball. Chandler's got 5 points so far.
Still trailing, but their offense is off life support here in the second quarter. It's got a pulse.
Good point, Clark. They're starting to make some shots, looking to try and get back in this.
Now here's Curry. 12 points for him. And he overshot that one, missing. Nelson kicks to Arthur. Top of the key. But they recover it. Nelson against Curry. And foul called as he misses. He'll go to the line and shoot two. Always seems the Mavs are able to compete for a title, Clark, but their window might be closing with some of their stars aging, namely Dirk Nowitzki.
You're exactly right, Kevin, because Dirk is the centerpiece of that franchise, has been for over a decade. They made the Rondo trade last year trying for a big finals run, but eventually they'll start to have to build for the future.
The first one falls.
And when you look at the Mavs, they have always built through free agency, still tinkered with the roster this season to get into a position to compete. Not having any lottery picks for so long has hampered their youth and development.
So he picks up just one from the line that time.
Well, you know, with the Mavs making the playoffs so consistently, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Cuts both ways. They rarely have draft picks that help take the team to the next level, but they are in the playoffs, which is what every team wants to be part of.
The Mavericks have made 7 out of 9 when they've stepped to the line.
And as a team, really just middle of the pack in terms of their percentage from the line at about 76.
Guys, that says a lot about the poise of this team. I mean, they've been so calm, cool, and consistent at the stripe this year. I mean, that's impressive.
Tanking is something that all teams that are out of it tend to do. I hate that word, Clark, but it seems to be the one used by a lot. Nuggets didn't really try to hide it last season either.
Well, you know, it certainly looked that way. Right around March, they just started sitting key players for no real reason. They framed it as rest, but it didn't quite look that way.
And guys, for the Nuggets, it seemed to come out of the blue for their players. They all felt fresh, but the press release would say they needed rest. So obviously a bit of miscommunication there.
Now here's Chandler. He's coming off a 13-point game against San Antonio.
It's been a real difficult game for him offensively, and it's costing him.
Anderson. That's miss number 3 for him. Now 2 for 5 from the floor. Nelson outside. And Harris wide open. He shoots. And again, Denver no good.
And, you know, back to the Nuggets and giving up a bit near the end of the season. Miscommunications like that can really bother a player. Still, it's a viable strategy. I don't know if it's viable, but it's a strategy that could pay dividends if executed the right way.
And Chandler throws it down.
Yeah, how about the sharp steal and then run out? It looks like they're ready to put the hammer down.
Well, we've been waiting for one of these teams, Greg, to pull away. Maybe that'll be a springboard for them.
Could be. A dunk like that coming off a great defensive play has to build some momentum.
Here's Curry. The Nuggets getting the bucket. And a look at the top three-point shooting small forwards this season in the NBA. Every wingman should have that shot in his arsenal, and these guys certainly do. Wilson Chandler is third, and of course Gallinari.
I mean, these guys are all constant threats on the perimeter. Shooting the three isn't all, though, that they do, but it sure is a lot of what they do.
They are your classic dual threat small forwards. Their three-point shooting is phenomenal, but they can still slice the defense open with their ability to get inside and attack that rack.
All right, now, take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
And he makes the first.
Just absolute domination in this one for Curry. He's got 13 points, and he's done a little bit of work behind the arc. He's got a pair of three-pointers.
And you know what? The defenders have that in the back of their minds now. They'll be on him a little tighter.
Denver making a switch here. Fareed's checked in for Laverne. Molinari comes in for Wilson Chandler. Will Barton, he's checked in for Gary Harris. And it's Moutier in for Jameer Nelson. And good on the second, so he makes them both. Dallas might always be considered a football town, but they take their basketball seriously here too. Huge attendance numbers, a long string of games for consecutive sellouts for the Mavs, not only last season, but for many years gone by.
And how about being third in the league in average attendance? And by percentages, they were first as they oversold the capacity of their stadium on average.
And it's the Mavericks with the ball. Denver getting their last shot to go. Matthews, no good. 1:21 left in the first half. Here's Barton, and it's Kenneth Faried with the foul. That's his first foul of the game, and the bonus will go to the free throw line. Andrew Bogut, he's checked in for Dallas. 1:15 left in the first half. Barnes against Gallinari. It's blocked. And the whistle blows. It's going to be on Andrew Bogut. That'll be his second foul of the game. The Nuggets trail by 3. There's a minute left now here in the second. Here's Gallinari.
And guys, this game won't be close for long if they keep giving up dunks like that.
No, it won't, G.A. You're right. A glaring error defensively and letting him get all the way to the basket that time.
Well, it's only 2 points. I mean, it was flashy, no doubt, but still, it only counts for 2. 2 is all.
Special thanks to Kia for that sweet Kia Slam Cam replay. Here's Nowitzki after the Nuggets pick up 2. And Matthews gets it to go.
They've done a really good job of knocking down their long-distance shots here in the second quarter. I mean, they're shooting just above 40% from downtown. That's outstanding.
Now, here's Moutier. He provides a good amount of offense for the team, averaging around 11.5 points a game. Here's Arthur. Nice D from Bogut. Mavericks leading by 4. Matthews passes to Bogut. And Williams, here we go. Poke loose. Here's Matthews. And it's Matthews again missing. 1 second left. And the first half comes to a conclusion in a game that has been very close so far. Mavericks lead by 4. And time now to go courtside as we send you over to Doris Burke from the sidelines. Doris?
Thank you, Kevin. I'm here with Coach Rick Carlisle. And, Coach, what impact is your defense having on slowing down their offense?
Well, we're active. They're missing a few shots they normally make. You know, we just got to compete. We got to keep competing the way we are.
Rick, thank you. Kevin, back to you.
Thank you, Doris. We'll be back after halftime as the third quarter gets underway.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
And an exhilarating first half, to be sure. Welcome back. I'm Ernie Johnson alongside Kenny the Jet Smith and Shaquille O'Neal. We'll be breaking down all the action for you. Right out of the gates, it was Dallas setting the tone. You could see the daggers in their eyes as they went on a 10-4 run to start things off. By the end of the first quarter, their lead was 7. Going into the second quarter, they lost a little focus, sacrificed some points, but still finished with a 4-point cushion at the half. And Kenny, what are your thoughts on how Dallas played?
Well, quite simply, their bench showed up tonight. And when I say showed up, I'm talking about on the offensive end because they were scoring in bunches. Now, you want your reserves to just at least come in and hold the fort, but they did way more than that tonight.
And big fella, let's get your thoughts on the Nuggets.
Ernie, they're taking way too many threes. The offense has no rhythm. They need to go back to the drawing board. Maybe try to get a little bit more transition, more off the pick and roll. Anything other than shooting that 3. It's not going.
And now, folks, it's just about time for the third quarter to begin. We will see you after the final buzzer.
Welcome back back, everyone. The second half about to get underway, and it's been a close one so far. The Nuggets trail by 4. Nowitzki is out there with Harrison Barnes. Then it's Williams. Then it's Bogut. And it's Matthews in at the 2. So that's who Rick Carlisle starts the second half with. Here's Fareed. It's rebounded by Dallas. Bogut's got 5 rebounds tonight. To the middle. And the jam by Dirk Nowitzki.
Taking it to the rack with power right there.
And hammering down with the two-handed slam.
Just piling on the lead with the dunk like that.
And for the Nuggets, they're shooting 39% from the floor at their best. Moutier dishes to Barton. Pass to Moutier. Fareed setting the pick for Moutier. He kicks it to Fareed. Second shot opportunity, and it's good on the layup. Fareed's got his second bucket of the night.
And the rebound and the follow show you what he is all about. Gritty and determined with the soft touch to manage.
And, you know, guys, a high-energy post player like Kenneth Fareed excels at doing the dirty work. As a matter of fact, he's nicknamed the Manimal for good reason. Very few players in the league possess this combination of energy and aggressiveness.
Here's Barton. Deron Williams picking up that last basket. Out to Gallinari. And that's collected by Bogut. Bogut's got 6 rebounds in the game.
And they're 1 of 4 here to start the second half.
And the call will be against Emmanuel Moutier. That's his first foul. It's out of bounds. The Mavericks able to retain possession here. Talking about Fareed, a rebounder extraordinaire. His explosiveness, long arms, and huge hands help him compensate for his relative lack of size.
And he has that exceptional shot blocker instincts. I mean, the timing's there. He'll also steal the ball from you. The question now becomes, will he always be that role, effort, energy player, or will he develop eventually the offensive skills needed to see him reach the next level? Yeah, heard the whistle and then kept his focus and able to still knock it down.
And, Greg, to be able to take the bump like that and maintain control, that's not easy to do. I know you're kind of a little fella, but I was a big guy when I played, so I know how difficult that is. That was impressive.
I see.
Well, perhaps one of the most intriguing draft picks of this past summer, Emmanuel Moutier, can be a game-changing player. Was going to play, Clark, as you recall, at SMU for Larry Brown.
He sure was, and went overseas instead, so we don't know a ton about him other than his reputation is sterling. Now we'll see if he can live up to it.
Now here's Matthews. Good on the shot. Matthews has got 7.
3 for 3, and that's always a good way to start the second half.
Moutier kicks to Gallinari. There's the pick. Fareed, a screen on Barnes. To the paint. Here's Jokic. Foul call that time on the way up. That'll give him 2 chances at the free throw line here.
And how about Moutier, guys? He has a very interesting upbringing. Born in the Congo, grew up in Texas, then spent last season in China. Already a very well-traveled young man for a player of his age.
And you know, with Moutier, you can't ignore what he does on the court. He has amazing size at the point guard spot, excellent vision, and is a natural playmaker for his squad.
And that's good as he hits both of his shots. A little under 2.5 minutes gone by here in the third. It's Williams with the drive. It's deflected.
Even with that miss, they're shooting 75% coming out of the break. That's a strong start to the half.
Here's Barton. He has 7. Fareed setting the pick for Moutier. Down to 5 on the shot clock. The Nuggets need to get a shot off here. And so the ball out of bounds. Bogert touched it last. Powell, he's checked in for Dallas. Correa comes in for Wesley Matthews. And then for Denver, Wilson Chandler's checked in for Reed. And Jameer Nelson is subbed in for Moutier. And they force the shot clock violation. Great team.
Oh, no, you hate to see that. Those are just the kind of errors that can cost you in a game like this.
Anderson, he's checked in for Darren Williams. And a switcher also for Denver. Laverne, he's checked in for Gallinari. Dallas leading by 3. Here's Barea. And the bucket counts. And he's on his way to the free throw line. Try to make it a 3-point play.
Oh, wow. 4 of 5 to start the half. Coming out on fire.
There's a check in for Will Barton. And guys, what a spark plug J.J. Barea has been throughout his career. When he comes in the game, you can feel the lift. We saw a couple games against Houston in the playoffs. Saw it back in 2011 in the championship season for the Mavs.
That's a great point. I mean, he has an energizing effect on his teammates, the fans, and the announcers. I mean, he just brings so much spirit and hustle to the games. Very hard not to root for a guy like that.
Now here is Harris. Taking a look at his stats, he's averaging around 9.5 points a game. And it's Laverne missing.
Those are chances almost always you can rely on him to get you 2 points, but the D, just enough to keep him out of rhythm. And very little fight put up by the defense as he made his way to the bucket for the jam.
They did seem to take the cautious approach, Greg, when it came to defending that one. You're right.
And guys, it's not the time for caution now. I mean, they've got to be aggressive and take some risks to see if they can cut that lead down.
The Nuggets have been getting it done at the line, 10 for 12. 2 shots.
Shooting 2. Shooting 2.
The first free throw is good.
This is as good as it gets from the charity stripe here in the second.
Yeah, you know what? And I think they've just got to keep on keeping on. Keep drawing contact, attacking, getting to the line. That will certainly give them a chance to get back into the game.
Curry's checked in for Dallas. Dallas leading by 7. Barea kicks to Anderson. Dishes to Powell. It's blocked. They retain possession. Down low. Here's Mejri. Tries again. And Jokic with the rebound.
You can see he just rushed that a little bit. Lost the focus, I think.
Nelson against Curry. And another miss by Denver. So for the Nuggets, their last game, a loss to the San Antonio Spurs. The fadeaway, and it comes off the front of the rim.
And if the shot's not there, you've got to understand that. Move the basketball.
Yeah, exactly, and I'm not quite sure what his mindset or what he was thinking there. I mean, that was just a terrible shot.
Now Curry. Wilson Chandler missing from long range. Feeds it to Anderson. And a foul on the shot. He'll go to the stripe for 2. That one on Nelson.
And you know what? You allow a guy to get right to the rim like that, that's your only option.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, free throws are always better than a layup, so I'd agree with you there, Greg.
And a chance for just a second now to check out the scoring breakdown for the Mavericks.
Well, their passing has been picturesque, a thing of beauty in both halves. More than a few of their baskets have come off assists.
And also, how about the points they've gotten in transition or on the fast break tonight? That's been a huge factor as well.
Both free throws good from Anderson.
Looking at the game so far for Anderson, he has 8 points, and he's added a steal to his stat line also.
You know what? The number is not huge, but he has been doing some valuable defensive work for them.
Nelson, no one around him. The Nuggets with another miss. Mavericks leading by 9. Here's Curry. And the lead now, double digits on that bucket. Curry's got 16.
They're scoring boatloads of buckets. It's raining buckets from inside.
Well, the defensive rotations, Greg, have been a step slow, and it's really helped them get that ball inside time after time.
Denver calls timeout.
Yeah, it's got to be concerned with all the missed shots here, and every team goes through cold streaks. You just got to figure out a way to stay productive.
And the best way to do that when you're missing shots is to get to the foul line. Be aggressive, get to the foul line, and knock down some of those freebies, and the tide can turn for you.
Denver with the ball. They trail by 11. And following this game, they hit the road to challenge the Bucks at BMO Harris Bradley Center in Milwaukee. That will be their second of this 5-game road trip. Here's Laverne. He has 7. Harris passes to Jokic. Back to Harris. Denver passing it around. 5 on the clock. The Nuggets with another miss.
A slight rebound advantage for them. One more column in their favor, and it's all adding up.
Well, you take a look at all of the stats, the team stats, that is, and that's one of the many areas that they've had the advantage. And as a result, they've got a big lead.
And that one's good. Berea's got 5 points now this quarter.
And you're not going to pass up that kind of look.
Nelson outside. The 3. Shot is off. And it's Dallas the other way. Now Berea. 5 points in the game. Outside Curry. And Berea has it in the corner. And Anderson has it in the corner. It's tipped. And the officials call over the back. A little too aggressive there.
Boy, did he go hard to the boards, but clearly went over the back in doing it.
Yeah, kudos for the effort. I always love that kind of effort, but he was just a little overzealous.
At the line for 2.
That's good from Harris. And the Nuggets making a change here. Arthur's checked in. And Harris drops them both.
And guys, every season there seems to be a player who is at the end of their contract. They'll have talent and they'll be traded to a team looking for an extra piece. It's the ultimate risk-reward move, if you will, in the NBA.
Berea dishes to Powell. And he takes that one up and powers it through.
Taking it to the rack with power right there.
And hammering down with the two-handed slam.
Just piling on the lead with a dunk like that.
The Nuggets trail by 13. Nelson outside. Passes it to Arthur. From downtown, the basket good off the assist from Nelson. Arthur's got 10 points. And trading assets for a player that can walk at the end of the year is the big risk GMs take. And last season, Clark, it happened with the Rondo trade.
And to a lesser extent, the whole Kevin Love deal made prior to the season would fit into that category as well.
Dallas calls timeout. And you look at Jameer Nelson, played his first 10 years with Orlando. Then he got traded to the Celtics last season, then again to Denver. That had to be tough for a crafty veteran like him, a tough adjustment.
You know, you look at last year, one of his worst statistically, especially from a field goal percentage standpoint. I really agree with you. I think he was affected by all of the changes, scenery, and system. Let's look to see him have a bounce back this season.
Mavericks leading by 10. Now here's Barea. He's got 5. Now the pass to Powell. Kicks it to Anderson. And it's Denver with the rebound. Arthur's got his 7th rebound of the game with that last one.
And, you know, talking about Jameer Nelson, what a blessing and luxury being with the same team for a full decade. I had a short career, only 5 years, was with the same team. And I wish I could have played for multiple teams if it would have been a 10 or 12-year career. That would have been cool.
Here's Barea. Nelson Chandler making his last shot. Dallas, no good that time either. Here's Mesri. Dents the rim with a two-handed slam. Wow.
And just another example, Kevin, of how they built this lead, just outworking.
Greg, that was definitely an effort play right there. You talk about that all the time, fighting to get proper position, then slamming home the putback.
Yep, and if they can maintain this energy level, their lead will be safe.
It's deflected, but they get it back. Nelson, the pass to Jokic. And here's Curry. He's got 16. Mesri drops in the layup for 2. And now a 12-point Maverick lead.
And when you think of Jameer Nelson, he can still contribute as a team leader. This adjustment happens to everyone as the career starts to wind down, and it's a choice. You can either be a part of the problem or part of the solution.
And so here's Denver, following the score by Dallas. 5 on the clock. Jokic, no good.
He's been anything but his usual self this quarter. It's actually been ugly to see.
Here's Mesri. Good, and it's Barea who picks up the assist. Barea's got his 4th assist in this one.
I don't know what's happening defensively, but they're not putting up any resistance.
I tell you what, it reminds me of one of my college coaches who used to say, that ain't gonna get it done. That's 5 straight baskets in the paint now.
Here's Jokic. He's got 8. Harris kicks to Nelson. Denver passing it around. But 3. The shot is off. So the Mavericks will take it the other way. After this one, they're off to Sacramento to take on the Kings. And that'll be the first of a 2-game road trip for them. Pass to Curry. Left side Anderson, uncovered, and it's Dallas with another.
And the lead continues to increase. They are just playing flawless basketball at both ends.
Greg, I can't identify an area where this team has underperformed. I mean, they've been 5-star in every category.
It's stolen by Barea. Left side Curry. Here's Anderson. Some solid defense from Harris. The Nuggets trail by 16. Pass to Nelson. And another miss by Denver.
The struggles just continue this quarter. They can ill afford to have this many empty possessions.
Barea kicks to Curry. And another one in the scoring column for him. He's 7 of 10 from the field.
Make it 10 of their last 12 points coming off assists.
You have to love the ball movement.
Now, here is Nelson, guarded by Barea. Nelson with it. The dish to Arthur. Shot to end this cold run. To the middle. Here's Curry. Count the bucket coming off a perfectly placed assist. Curry's got 20.
And the crisp passing has opened things up for them offensively.
10 straight points off assists. That's very impressive, and it also makes the game easy and fun to watch.
Now here's Arthur. 10 points for him. Chandler attacking. Can't cash in from close range.
Really tough for this group right now, trying anything to stop the run.
And no matter what they've tried, it hasn't worked. I think they've just got to slow it down, idle it back, and get back to the basics.
Here's Powell, and the shot is good. Powell's got 13.
That makes it 10 of their last 12 points coming from inside the painted area.
And really something that the defense has to address.
That is some real serious dime dropping there. Exquisite assist.
Now here's Barea, guarded by Nelson. Barea dishes to Curry. Six to shoot. Here's Anderson. Buries it down low. 12 points for him.
Moving it around, 8 of their last 10 coming off assists.
And Greg, you know nothing makes a coach happier than selflessness on the basketball court.
Nelson outside. And there's the feed to Arthur. Snatched away. And now the fast break Anderson with the ball. 2 on the clock. And Curry the bucket on the assist by Anderson. Anderson's got his 3rd assist on the night. And as we conclude the 3rd quarter, pretty much a blowout. It's been a one-sided affair. It's Dallas running away with it. And we'll be back with you right after this. And thanks again for joining us. Let's see what happens here in the 4th. Dallas has gotten a lot of looks from outside tonight, 5 of 12. And Denver will start the 4th quarter with Gallinari sits outside at 3 with Farid at the 4. Will Barton is out there with Moutier, and it's Laverne in at center, locking down the middle.
No, I tell you what, he earned his money on that foul.
Yeah, if you're going to foul, then make sure that you don't give a chance for the and one.
One thing that can be said for Dirk is that he has been incredible in terms of an ambassador for the game. We know he's a Hall of Fame player, but what he's done off the floor and just everything for the European player coming into this league has been groundbreaking.
And Kevin, for me, he was an inspiration. I mean, he really opened the doors for a lot of European players to come over, and not just come over, but to be impactful. As you mentioned, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that really has set the stage for this infusion of making our game truly global.
And some changes here for the Mavericks. Villanueva comes in for Andrew Bogut. And Harris subbed in for Williams. And then for Denver, Yusuf Nurkic. He's checked in for Laverne. Miller comes in for Kenneth Farid. And Jakar Sampson subbed in for Barton. And so Nowitzki nails both of them.
And you know, you think about Dirk's impact. Certainly the NBA saw more and more European players come over after Dirk. He wasn't the first Euro, but he certainly has been perhaps the most popular.
So he gets the whistle. Contact on the way up, and 2 shots coming up.
And one thing that should be noted with Dirk and his opening up of things with Europe, we now see a lot of American players go to Europe to play, to develop skills, and so on. Both leagues benefit greatly from the impact of Dirk Nowitzki.
All right, now, take a break. Take a break. 2 shots.
That free throw good from Miller. So last year, Clark, when LeBron went from Miami to Cleveland, Mike Miller with that 3-point shot went with him.
Yeah, and we know Mike's a smart guy. I mean, he knows his best chance to score is if defenders are drawn away from him, and LeBron is as good as anybody at doing that.
And the Mavericks making a change here. Acey's checked in.
And getting back to Miller, though, LeBron couldn't save him last season. Miller shot 32% from the field. His career low prior to that was 42, so that's a huge drop-off. And he put up career lows in pretty much every other category as well.
Miller with the double team. Nobody near Barnes. And that one's on target from the wing.
And immediately looking for the open man when the double team comes to him.
Now here's Moutier. Defense is right there. Out of bounds. Dallas will take possession.
On the topic of LeBron bringing Mike Miller to Cleveland, you've got to add James Jones as well. LeBron brought him. The difference in the two shooters, as it turned out, is that Jones still had some gas left in the tank. So as the season wore on, Jones kept getting more minutes.
Here's AC. Gallinari covering. Nurkic with the block. Here's Sampson. And a foul called on the shot. Got him on the way up that time, so he'll shoot 2 right here.
You know, one thing we saw a lot of last season during the playoffs was the hack-a-shack plan, pretty much purposely fouling a poor free throw shooter. A lot of differing opinions on it, as it wasn't fun to watch for the viewers, but many feel it's a legitimate part of the game if it works.
Shots.
First free throw is good. The hack-a-shack or the hack-a-Jordan or the hack-a-whatever being a focus of the playoffs last season. We saw it up close and personal. It opened up a debate, Greg, on whether or not it should be allowed. What do you think?
You know, it's a touchy subject. I remember last summer, or spring, I should say, the commissioner touched upon it. You know, one of the concerns is, do you want to change a rule for an entire league when it basically affects 2 players? And so it's something that you got to be sensitive to. But to your point, the fans don't want to see that ugly style of basketball.
It's boring. It slows the game down. Harris passes to AC. Over in the corner, Barnes. The 3. Another 3 for Dallas.
The assist totals, Kevin, just continue to grow. They're way ahead in that category. Ball movement has been flawless.
Clearly just an example of a different mindset between these teams.
Moutier kicks to Gallinari. Barnes grabs the miss. Barnes has got his 3rd rebound tonight. Harris outside. He feeds it to Barnes. Some nice passing here by Dallas. And the dunk by AC.
And for a power forward, he can sure get up. I mean, because of that leaping ability, it kind of offsets his height disadvantage.
Pass to Nurkic from 13, and he gets it to go.
He has such a nice touch for a big man.
Yeah, and they've got to figure out a way to get a bigger body on him, because if they don't match up his size, then he's going to continue to work him over the rest of the game.
To the paint. Gallinari with the steal. And pushing it up. Here's Denver. Out of bounds. Dallas takes possession.
No clue where that pass was going. That is a brutal turnover.
For Dallas, they've gone 3 of 5 here in the 4th quarter. Pretty good numbers coming out of the break. The kick out to Matthews. The 19-foot shot. And it's Denver with the rebound.
The right thing there to stay that tight on him and really try to keep him out of his comfort zone.
Moutier dishes to Gallinari. Goes up and lays it nice and easy.
He had his head on the swivel and was able to pick out the pass and get the assist.
Dallas has gone past the 3-point line for 13 of their shots. 6 of 13. AC's shot is good.
And a nice spark for their offense here in the second half. Now above 50% for the game.
And, you know, guys, that kind of offensive efficiency really keeps a lot of pressure on the opponent, and that's part of why the lead is what it is.
And, guys, over the last 2 seasons, Devin Harris has been a backup point guard, but one could argue that he's outperformed the guys that are directly ahead of him.
That's exactly right, Kevin. I mean, Harris came back to the team that he started his career with to be a support player, but injuries, trades, and generally poor fits elevated Harris's importance to the team.
Denver calls timeout.
You know, getting back to Devin Harris, he can really help you. But you want to do one thing, limit his minutes. 11 full seasons under his belt. Slender in build. It's best to play him around half the game if you can.
Gallinari passes to Moutier. And it's good. Fought through contact, hits the shot. He'll go to the free throw line.
You know, talking about the veteran Harris, his quickness was still apparent last season, and his skill set was a good fit for Coach Carlisle's flow offense. I mean, this guy's been around a long time, and there are very few that are quicker than him with the ball.
And, guys, you look over the history of the Defensive Player of the Year award, and it usually goes to big men. Big men get the blocks and clog up the paint, but before last season, the last 10 Defensive Player of the Year awards went to bigs.
Timeout charge to Dallas.
And the Mavericks call time here. Last year we saw Kawhi Leonard win the Defensive Player of the Year award. Draymond Green was runner-up, and although he was a power forward, I thought, Clark, he was defending on the perimeter quite a bit.
Yeah, he was, and you know, it's only the 8th time out of 33 Defensive Player of the Year awards that's not been given to a big guy. So well earned by Kawhi Leonard, and Draymond Green very easily could have won the award too.
For Dallas, they've gone 4-7 from the field since the beginning of the fourth. It's hauled in by the Nuggets. Gallinari's got his 4th rebound with that last one here tonight. On the wing, Miller, covered by Barnes. And it's Gallinari missing.
The defense ready for him on that possession. They had to be, because he is so strong in the paint.
That's good.
That's their 3rd straight make off an assist.
Great ball movement.
Nuggets have gone 3 of 5 here in the 4th quarter. Pretty good numbers coming out of the break. Now here's Moutier, guarded by Harris. They double him with Matthews. Here's Sampson. Can't hit. Now Dallas takes it the other way. Fast break, Dallas. And it's Matthews with the jam.
Wow, the floor just really opened up for him on that possession.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for good offense, but that was just a terrible reaction from the defense.
Here's Moutier. Ball stolen. Now the Mavericks moving it up. He lobs up the alley-oop pass, and the dunk by Barnes.
A surreal alley-oop that time, partner.
The pass, Clark, the catch, the dunk, all of it perfect.
Precision at its finest.
And guys, it had to be, because not nearly as easy a play as they made it look.
Moutier with the ball. Matthews covering. Here's Sampson. He dishes it to Moutier. From the arc. Count that one.
And guarding him on the perimeter isn't a priority for them right now, but if this continues, it will be.
Now Harris. Over to the left wing. Down low. It's tipped. They get it back. Miller against Barnes. Moutier kicks to Sampson. Now here's Nurkic. Tight defense on him. Count the bucket. Now here is Harris.
You know, something that's floating around in the sports world and in the NBA is reseeding after the playoffs start. And for those of you who may not understand the situation, it's simply saying that no matter what seed would play the lower seeded team, however you get to those numbers.
Here's Miller. It's rebounded by Dallas.
Physically, there's no doubt they've been the stronger team. That plus 10 rebound advantage tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, not to mention what it says on the scoreboard. They're really pushing them around. Straight bully ball.
Hey, close out on Mike.
And he banks in the layup. And with that whole concept of playoff reseeding, so often we'll see a 2nd or 3rd seed team get a 6th or 7th seed team in the 2nd round. Meanwhile, Greg, the top seed plays the 4th seed no matter what.
You know, I think in a few cases it would have made a major difference in how the playoffs would have played out. And quite frankly, I think it also puts more value on the regular season if that #1 seed could play a 7th seed, if you will, in the 2nd round. So I think that's something that the commissioner and the competition committee might want to reassess.
Barnes with it, and it's Miller picking him up. Harris dishes to Villanueva. Outside Matthews. Shot clock at 5, and there's the foul. It goes on Wesley Matthews. That'll be his second foul of the game.
And now only one away from being in the penalty.
Yep, the next one puts them on the line, so they've got to be careful the rest of the way.
A different look for Dallas. Andrew Bogut, he's checked in for Villanueva. Nowitzki comes in for Quincy Acey. And Darren Williams is subbed in for Devin Harris. Now here's Moutier. He's guarded by Williams. Moutier passed to Farid. Here's Barton. Another shot. He lays it in.
How about that, going up strong? I mean, he doesn't care how much height he's giving up. It's attitude with him.
For Dallas, they've gone 8 of 13 from the field since the start of the fourth, sinking the majority of their shots. Williams kicks to Barnes. Outside Matthews. Barnes dishes to Nowitzki. Some nice passing here by Dallas. And pushing it up, here's Denver. Gallinari running, and it's sent back by Bogut.
Not only is their lead big, but their advantage on the boards is huge too.
They've been the aggressors, plain and simple, outworking them, fighting for every loose ball.
Here's Barton. He kicks to Gallinari. Drops in the tray.
You can't afford to get him that kind of a look.
Well, you know, he came off a good screen, but still, as a defender, you've got to do a better job of fighting over and through that.
Dishes it to Barnes. There's the three. No good. And it's Denver the other way. Here's Moutier. Rejected by Nowitzki. Oh, and here comes Barnes all alone. Rips down the breakaway slam.
And they've looked terrific in transition today. That's had a lot to do with their success.
Boy, it certainly has. I mean, they've done a really good job recognizing anytime they've had the numbers advantage, and then they've taken advantage. We've seen it time and time again here.
Here's Barton. Out to Gallinari for three. And again, Denver with the triple.
Boy, they've gone on this run, and ball movement has been a big key.
It really has, Clark. The defense unable to react as quickly as necessary in terms of dealing with their passing.
Matthews passes to Nowitzki. Over in the corner, Barnes. And they wasted no time getting those 3 points back. Barnes has got a pair of threes here in the fourth quarter for Dallas. Denver calls timeout.
Some of Harrison Barnes' teammates have referred to him as the senator because of the way he carries himself. And, you know, a very level-headed, dignified young man, and just he has an air about him.
And Harrison Barnes at times has been criticized in the past for not being more, Clark, assertive on the court.
Well, you know, it's interesting. He had to weather the pressure of expectations since high school. I mean, people were comparing him to Kobe Bryant back then, but HB can't get caught up in that. He's got to be true to himself. You know what I tell guys? Do you.
Yeah.
Do you.
No one near Moutier as he lets it go. Another three for Denver.
No three-pointers for him in that first half, but the second half, different story.
Doris Burke has an update for us. Doris?
During that break, Coach Mike Malone had some words for his team. He made no mistake that their plan was to run their offense through Farid. Coach has a lot of faith in him offensively and let his players know it, insisting that he be at the forefront of what they do at that end of the court from here on out. The next thing he talked about was the pace he'd like to see them playing at offensively. He wants it to be a fast-paced game, pushing tempo all the time. With the minutes ticking down and the deficit still a big one, those adjustments have to be a chance worth taking, Kevin.
Thanks a lot, Doris. Offensive rebound.
They have been board dominant in this game. That's definitely been a factor in crafting this huge lead.
And it's been a well-rounded performance. I mean, strong rebounding has certainly been at the center of it, but it's been good on a number of levels.
Well, with Steve Kerr and Jason Kidd both coming with no coaching experience over the last few seasons and also having success, I don't know, guys. Maybe we should throw our hat in the ring, but pretty impressive stuff.
That's not for me to do. I've already determined I don't want to coach for a paycheck, even if it is a big one.
one falls for him. You know, you look at the coaching success for both Jason Kidd and Steve Kerr, both with long playing careers, championship experience on their resumes. Steve, in fact, Clark even had some time in the front office with Phoenix.
And don't forget about his broadcasting career either, Kevin. I mean, I think in both cases, though, you look at these two guys, they were able to come in and have immediate credibility with their teams and their playing experience, part of their preparation for being coaches.
Nowitzki a screen. Clock at 6. Here's Barnes. 8 for 15 with that made basket, but he's not satisfied yet.
They're forcing the ball inside, and it's working beautifully.
It really is. 5 out of 6 of their last field goals have come from the paint. Well, guys, this was never really a contest, just a total obliteration, if you will, and you can safely say mission accomplished now for the Mavericks.
Agreed, Steve, and as one-sided as it gets today, you know, Clark, there were some dominant moments in there about every facet of this game for that team.
You're right, Kevin. It's hard to think of anything that didn't go right for them. I mean, game planning by the coaches, execution by the players, everything was spot on.
And they took charge when it counted, and they'll be notching their 9th win overall.
They can chalk this one up, but these two teams will see plenty more of one another before the season's over.
And, Greg, we know familiarity breeds contempt. I would expect things to become more heated as these teams face each other going forward.
And while it's a team game, you can't win without guys showing up. And that was the case tonight for Barnes. Every inch of the floor was his tonight as he came out and injected an energy into every play.
8-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. Right side, Williams. And it's Denver with the rebound. And here's Moutier. So we see the Mavericks taking the win here. And the outcome of this one was never in doubt.
Yeah, they were clicking in every way. I mean, all cylinders go. No question about that. And once they pulled away, they didn't let up.
And that's going to do it tonight, folks, for our broadcast. This is Kevin Harlan saying thank you for watching. Now we'll go to the studio with the award-winning Ernie Johnson.
The 2K Sports Postgame Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Ernie Johnson here along with Shaq and the Jet as we present our Jordan Player of the Game, Harrison Barnes. He had just an outstanding fourth-quarter performance. He really had the fire lit under him, and down the stretch, really having a huge impact on the outcome of this game.
Boom, 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 boom. That's right, Ernie. Instruments. This guy was instrumental tonight in making sure they avoided a second straight loss. They needed somebody to step up tonight, and he was their guy.
He had a very nice night from the field tonight, shooting over 50%. That smooth, soft touch was working for him tonight. No matter how tight the D played him, he was still shooting it right in their face.
And folks, that'll wrap it up for tonight. We hope you enjoyed the game. For Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith, Kevin Harlan, and the entire 2K Sports crew, I'm Ernie Johnson. Have a good evening.